Dormail, home of a great night's sleep.
Hello, everybody. Happy afternoon. Happy Tuesday.
Oh my God, Dee, you are still alive.
Just, darling, just. Oh,
Tell
my
us all.
goodness. I know. Oh, well, it was very exciting. The Brighton zip. And I didn't think I'd make it. You know, I love, as you said, Harry, I love the zip. It's up and down. But this was really up. And it was 90 steps up. And oh, my goodness. So climbing up was the worst bit. So if anyone wants to do a zip, get one with a lift, because that's the worst bit. Is actually,
Darling, that sounds like some sort of facial surgery. But did you put on the harness when you got up there?
No, they put it on. They put it on before,
right?
So you have to get up the stairs with the harness on, which is quite heavy.
Yeah.
I'm making it sound terrible now, putting people off, but honestly, it's all worth it, because once you get up there, even though I was hyperventilating and you know, my tongue was sticking to the top of my mouth with dryness and nerves, and my legs were shaking, it was all worth it.
What was it like? What did it feel like?
Well, do you know, the worst bit actually is when you get into this little sort of box, or sort of, you know, it's an enclosure, and they say to you, let's just have a test thing, sit down on the harness, and you feel like you're going to slip through it. That's the worst bit. And then I thought, well, what can I do now? I've got to do it, haven't I? So, and then they say, you ready? And I went, yes. And that's it. And then once you're out there, it's like, wow, you know, it's
You're
amazing.
flying, aren't you? So we've got a little film of you, haven't we, Dee?
Yes.
And that was amazing, absolutely amazing, and I'm so glad I wasn't there. I mean, not to cheer you on, of course, but I wasn't doing it. I mean, it must be a bit like, and I don't know if any of you've done this, Sherry or Harriet. Have you ever been in a harness on a show? Have you ever flown in a production before?
No.
Is that the same sort of harness, Sherry? Do you think?
No, that's a different thing altogether. This is of course. You're only going up a few feet.
That's
true. And then comes back down again. No, your harness will be a proper flying harness. You know, like zip line harnesses are very different game altogether.
Yeah, but I meant they probably go on the same way. It's probably the same sort of thing.
But bigger and stronger, and you know, because your life is in danger. It's not on as a fairy, well, not fairies I've known anyway.
And there was one girl dressed up as a dog completely, in a complete dog's outfit.
Oh, how brilliant.
Brilliant. It was absolutely fantastic, because we did raise a lot of money for IAPWA, with the charity. It's like an international rescue for dogs and animals. Yeah. So it was just brilliant. So that was all worth it.
Congratulations.
Thank you everyone for donating out there, because there were some lovely people like Vera and Alex and Helen and Mandy. Thank you so much. And everyone else, thank you.
Lovely fans, and thank you for being fans of Wonderbirds. You'll see that the show that is coming up is without Sherry, because Sherry, I think, were you on a zip wire at the time?
Yes, many.
I thought you were in a giant balloon, darling, but I'll let that go.
Yes, a show that we pre-recorded before our summer break with the lovely Linda Lusardi and Shelagh Macleod.
Hello. Welcome.
Hi. Is it Macleod or Macleod?
Macleod.
It is Macleod, because I have a friend of mine, Lewis Macleod, but it's spelt Macleod. So,
well, yeah, people pronounce it in a very different way, but don't worry, you can call me anything you like. Yeah,
Betty.
Darling is the one I want to call you.
Good. Yes, darling a lot.
So, darling, we often see each other wandering around Cobham High Street, aimlessly. But the last time I saw you, interestingly enough, you were about to go into hospital with your eyes. What happened?
Well, I'll keep it short, Debbie. It was something I always thought, when something was going to go wrong with me, it would be my hips or something. I never thought it would be my eye. And I just noticed that, I'm short-sighted, and I just noticed that my eyesight was getting worse. And I thought, I need a new pair of glasses. And I put it off, and of course it was lockdown, so I didn't really rush to the opticians. And then last summer I noticed that with one eye I could see quite clearly, and with the other I couldn't. I thought, oh, I really do need a new pair of glasses. So I went to the optician, and I couldn't see the board with my right eye. I literally could not see the board. It was terrifying. And the optician was brilliant, and he was a young guy, Oliver, and he said in Cobham, and he said, I think I know what's happened. So he did an exam, and he said, you've got a macular tear at the back of your eye, and it's ripped a hole in the macula. So I just said, right, I've got to, it was a bit of an emergency. So I got into Moorfields, and they said, yes, we need to operate on this. And so I had to prepare for this operation, which was quite tough, I have to say. I don't want to put anybody off, because it's an amazing operation. It is amazing. But my surgeon, Professor Charteris at Moorfield, was incredible. He's a lovely guy as well. And it's a weird thing having your eye operated on, because, well, it's your eye, you know what I mean? It's not like a sort of, a cut made to the skin. It's actually going into your eyeball. And what they do is they insert a gas bubble at the back of your eye, and you have to lie face down. I lay face down for about 5 days, and literally 55 minutes out of an hour, you are flat down on your face.
Wow.
And that keeps the gas bubble in place. The macular hole miraculously healed. And I think it took a good 6 weeks for my eyesight to start to come back. So it's a very...
Oh, how scary. Where is the macula? Right at the very back of your eye?
I think, listen, I try to not do Dr. Google. You know what I mean? You do.
Yeah.
I really don't want to do Dr. Google on this. I'll just let the specialist take over. And it's right at the back of the eye, and it's kind of right around the retina. And so it's a weird line that goes around. So, and I thought it was because I was wearing I took a belt off that I was wearing, and the buckle smacked me in the eye as it flipped off. But my surgeon said it just happens. It happens more, funnily enough, to women than men. It can happen at any time. Sometimes it happens to women over 45. And it just happens. It's one of those things. So it was tough getting through it, but I was so well treated at Moorfield. So,
and is it a common thing? Is it?
No, whenever I'm wheeled in for anything, they always say, God, it's really unusual.
What were the symptoms actually? What did you have to trigger it?
Well, the symptoms are that you think it's almost like, it's not a dimming exactly, because that's more like a cataract. It's like things don't look as bright. You can't see as clearly. And there's a difference between one eye and the other. And also I noticed that if I shut my good eye and I was looking at the TV, everybody looked very warped. And actually a real sign of macular hole is that if a line looks wavy, or a circle looks like a sort of more like a spiral, that's a sign because it affects the central vision.
Your vision is the most important thing as an actor, as a director. But Sheila, you've done so many incredible acting roles, throughout your career. Do you still want to act at all, ever? Or now you're an award-winning director and producer? Just let's drop in how many awards you won for your last film.
Well, actually, we've Edinburgh, it was one of the best of the fest, which was a huge honour to be there. And it just won Best Director at the National Film Awards. And it was
well done.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Congratulations.
It was a complete shock. And actually, when I got up, I was so slow getting up to the stage because it was quite hard to hear, and I'm pretty deaf. And I just couldn't quite believe that I had actually won, so it took a while to get to the stage.
Was your speech ready, darling?
No, it wasn't. I
see.
So a friend of mine who actually helped me on the film, Joanna, a young filmmaker herself, an actor, I said, oh, come with me, because my husband never goes anywhere with me. He's always like, no, I don't want to do that. And actually, I love him, but it's much more fun to go with a mate. And Joanna said, listen, I'm just going to run to the loo. And I said, what are we up? We're up for something right now. I said, oh, Best Director. Yeah, I won't get that. It's go. And she went off. And I was chatting to somebody at the table. And she said, it was Anne Widdecombe, actually, I was talking. And guess what I was talking about? My eye.
Hysterical.
I was so engrossed because she had had an eye operation. I was saying, but Anne, so how long did it take and what did you do? And she said, Sheila, you've won. And I went, no. They call somebody else. No, but anyway, tell me about the eye. And she said, no, you've won. Get up there. So it was.
That is extraordinary. That's extraordinary.
Said, Sheila, you were blind and deaf at these awards.
Yeah, I pretty much was. Yeah, but because unfortunately, one of the side effects of having a macular hole is you get a fast-growing cataract. But a cataract is easy. But it was still only a week after surgery, so I was a bit like, woo, you know.
Can I ask you, darling, what was the moment when you started to diversify your career, that creative voice of yours? When did it start to shift into the other arenas of directing and writing and creating and producing? And when did that all begin?
Well, weirdly enough, it happened years ago, and I'd made a little commercial with some help of some friends, a test commercial.
Yeah.
And I'm in my mid-30s. And I knew I'd already been twiddling around with stories and writing and stuff. And then when my mum was pretty ill, I went to talk to my mum in a nursing home, and of course talking about me, and there she is, pretty ill, talking about myself. But I said to my mum, I've been an actor since I was 12. You know, I started as a kid, and I said, I've got to step behind the camera. It's now or never, and I really want to do this. And I said, but I need to learn how to write. I need to learn it properly. So I enrolled in university, and I just once I went to university, I sort of struggled around for a bit because I didn't really have a particularly academic background. And then I went to Mojo, and that really helped me on my path. And it just cemented what I'd been feeling inside. And also, you know, and they were brilliant because Kingston University helped pull out the voice of my writing, you know.
Yes.
And then I got more confidence, and I thought I might be able to do this, you know. And already then I was making short films and, you know, learning as much as I could.
Yeah.
But
to write and direct and create, and also coming from that place of being an actor, you understand process, you understand anxiety, you understand creativity. So to amalgamate all those things is just fantastic.
Thanks. It is a weird, you do get the imposter syndrome a lot, you know. You do think, what the hell I think I was doing, but you have to kind of ride through that, and it's very much, it's such a different process. I mean, you know, I don't know how many of you are actors, but we all know what it's like to prepare yourself for the take, prepare yourself for the stage performance. You go into the zone, and it's very different muscle you are using, because you are bombarded with questions and decisions, and it really is. I mean, I was talking to a young filmmaker the other day, and I said, the best advice I can give you is park the ego at the door. You know, you're not going to know a lot of stuff, and don't be embarrassed about saying I don't know, and ask, because that's what the crew are there for. And that's what I found. People were so generous with me on the journey up to getting the film made. You know, I just asked a million questions to everybody, and they gave me advice, and it was great. It's a weird...
How did you think of the story of The Astronaut? Is it called The Astronaut?
Well, Richard Dreyfuss calls it The Astronaut. I started it. I did a screenwriting course, evening screenwriting course, and it was years ago. I mean, we're going back 12 years when I came up with this idea, and I started writing about this old man, and then I went to see my mum in her nursing home, and I was chatting to this guy in the nursing home garden, and he was in a wheelchair, and he was always outside, and he'd never come in, and you know, the nurses would be dragging him in at the end of the day. And he was always looking up at the sky, and I just sat next to him one day, and I said, what is it that you're looking for up there? And he said, another go. And it kind of broke my heart a bit, and I thought, wow, that's you know, I must write about this man, and I must write about what it must feel like to not have fulfilled your dream. And wouldn't it be great if he could go, if Angus could go? So that's kind of the start of the process of writing the story.
And have you found a big change towards women directing and writing in the business now?
Yes, I have recently, definitely. I mean, when I, was younger, I honestly think I've probably worked with 4 female directors in my whole career. And I think that really is changing now. I've got a lot of friends who say, oh, I just worked with a woman director, she was great. I think it is getting slowly easier. I think what was an obstacle for me was my age. I wasn't a spring chicken. So I was going in a female director, a mature female director. So there was a lot of kind of like, oh, well, what have you done? And I do think, actors can transition very well to being directors and writers and editors and whatever they want to do. But and in fact, I think sometimes they make brilliant directors because they understand the actor's journey so much, and you're mentally playing all the parts in your head, not because you want to play them, just because you simply understand what an actor has to go through at that moment to be present. But I think it is getting better for women. I think it is. Fine.
That's brilliant. Well, you've done brilliantly, Sheila. And I'd like to ask you, and what would you like to do next? Or have you got plans or aspirations to do anything next?
Yeah, I've got another script that I've been working on. It always takes years. I don't know why. One day I'll be able to write a script in 5 minutes. I don't think
it always takes years.
Yeah. And it got shortlisted at Sundance, and then Page, a finalist at the Page Screenwriting Awards last year, which was brilliant. And it's now been optioned by a really good production company. And so
wow.
Hoping to try and get it away this year. It's about space again, but and I've got another script that I'm also working on, and I've been asked to direct a film in Canada. So it just depends on finance, it's.
Oh, it is, because I know that you've got a lot of contacts, roots with Canada, haven't you? Yeah. And it's very much, it's coming into its own, isn't it? Especially with movies now.
Yeah, I mean, I was born there, and I've got a Canadian citizenship. It's a wonderful country, Canada, and it is. I can honestly say, I mean, this is my hats off to the talent there. We were bombarded with brilliant actors, and by that I mean we got an amazing casting director, and every single actor that walked in on those 5 days could have played the role. They were so prepared, so talented. And there's a kind of youthful energy, and that doesn't mean, I don't mean to be ageist. It literally goes from 10 until 90. The oldest actor, Jennifer, I've forgotten her last name, which is terrible, but it'll come back to me. And she was 87 when she was shooting the movie. And
wow.
Sort of buoyancy in Canada and optimism that.
Fabulous.
It's just an interesting country, and it's full of hope, and I've always found it a great place. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful, Sheila. Well, I think actually there's a lot of amazing things happening for you, and actually I'd love you to come back and tell us more as they happen.
Sheila, can I ask you about the astronaut, or your film? Can you tell us, is it going to go out in general release?
Well, it was. We had, I can talk about it now, but last year it was scheduled for Odeon Cineworld picked it up in, I think, 80 cinemas.
Wow, that's amazing.
Theatrical release on March the 20th, and we got pulled on March the 18th.
Oh no!
Shut down for COVID.
Oh.
Yeah, really, and it was quite funny because I was talking to our wonderful distribution company, Popland, and I was talking to Tom, and I said, "But Tom, this is just a mild little infection that's going to go away in a week, and it will be fine. So we can still do it." Little did I know, how wrong was I that this was an infection?
Have you used this time, Sheila, to write?
Yes, I have.
And be creative, because a lot of people have, but some people say they couldn't write, and it was actually very negative. But you're such a positive person. I'm sure that you used it to your full advantage.
I'm really pleased because I work with a fantastic story editor called Sarah Golding, who I just think is a genius. She's like a script detective. So I have written 2 more projects. One I'm really excited about, The Visit, mother-daughter relationship. Something strange happens, and the mother goes missing. I'm really excited about that, and I got that into hopefully pretty good shape. And I've also done a pass on a wonderful project that I've been asked to direct. It's just a superb script that unfortunately the writer died, and I've just done a pass on that. And I've also got another project that I'm working on too. So it was that kind of, I don't know, again, it's an actor's discipline, isn't it? And actors, I think they're so hyperactive actors that if you're not doing something, you just feel like catastrophically depressed.
Absolutely, you have to be doing something.
So I just did throw myself into it, and it was a time to reflect and write. So yeah.
Do you still see yourself as an actress, Sheila? Would you still act again
Yeah. I mean, actually, funnily enough, I've just got a lovely new agent, and I love her. And I just did do something, but it's all top secret, so I can't talk about it. But it was hard because I had not acted I gave myself a tiny little role in Astronaut, and I'm so stupid, Debbie, because I was so nervous I had a scene with Richard Dreyfuss, and I played a medical, and the cameraman, who was brilliant, Scott McClellan, said, "Now, Sheila, we can turn the camera around and I can give you a beautiful close-up." And I said, "No, this is not a vanity project." Shoot the back of my head. Shoot the back. And he said, "Are you sure?" And I said, "No, I can't be vain. No, no, no." And then later on, I was talking to my agent, and I thought, I must have been mad.
Yes.
Scene with Richard Dreyfuss on my acting demo reel. Why the hell did I do
I
it?
know. Modesty kicked in.
I understand exactly that, because when I produce stuff myself, I never like to be in them, because it's a very, very difficult place to be in it, because you think that you're pushing yourself as an actress. So so that's why I prefer not to be in things that I produce as well. So I get that entirely. I mean, and it is ridiculous, isn't it?
It's ridiculous. And also I was very, very nervous, because I knew that I was working with one of the greatest. And again, I was nervous directing. I mean, the first day I told, we had a screening the other day, and I said to the audience, the first day I nearly ran away. I was so frightened. It was when I was prepping up to do the scene with Richard, I suddenly got terribly nervous and thought, oh God, I've got to remember this one line I've got. And so when I just did this project recently, I was pretty scared, because I hadn't acted for quite a long time, but I loved it. It was great. They were a really nice team.
And it's a lovely feeling, isn't it, to go into something that you don't have to worry about anything except yourself.
Yes, it really is. It's a release. It is kind of memorizing lines now is an interesting experience, but it's getting easier. So no, I always want to act, but I think, and it's soul food acting, I think acting is soul food. It really is. It sort of fills you up in a way that nothing else does, and you feel content for several weeks after, at least. But directing is something that I just absolutely love, and writing as well. I just love it. I love
what was Richard Dreyfuss like? I would imagine he's an absolute darling, isn't he?
He's hilarious. He's so warm and friendly and mischievous and clever. He is very, very clever guy. I mean, if he had an idea, I used to say to him, Richard, I'm nicking that line. That's my line now, because he has fantastic ideas, and he's a star. I mean, he's up there with the greats, and I was so lucky that he said yes, because when he, I don't know if you know the story, but we had 2 Skype. I was in Canada, and my producer, who literally looks about 12 years old, and I had the first meeting with Richard Dreyfuss on Skype, and there he was, suddenly Richard Dreyfuss, like, you are all here. And then we had a second meeting with him, and he said at the end, so when are we going to start? And we hung up, and then Jess and I had a 2-hour conversation about whether Richard Dreyfuss had actually said yes or not. I'm quite a worrier, and she's not such a, she's great producer. And I was going, but Jess, do you think he really, when he said that, was it really yes, or was it kind of maybe yes?
Well, luckily he did, and it was a sensation, and I can't wait to see it. Thank you so much for coming to see us. You've been absolutely amazing.
Great. Thank you so much for having me. It's really fun.
Thank you, Sheila. I'll see you
such a pleasure.
Problem very soon.
Okay, yeah, see you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. That was an absolutely brilliant show. And I mean, Sheila, she is trailblazing for all of us women, isn't she?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Very much so.
Now, darlings, I just have to tell you a little story, which took me quite by surprise. I was out to an event, and I was parking my car in Soho, don't judge. And I asked a young gentleman, could you tell me if I can go a little bit further in my car, just so I didn't hit the car in front as I was parking? And I got out of the car, and this young gentleman, who apparently was 31, said to me as I was then moving off, he said, are you busy later? I was like, excuse me? He said, you busy later? I'm in a hotel up the road. I said, darling, please, I'm 64. The bifolders have been shut for a long time. He said, no, really? I was like, no, really. I have one hormone on trickle, if that. But thank you so much. You've made my day. You helped me park, and now you've suggested we go out on a little date. But anyway, I just wanted to share. 31, dear.
Oh, I'm so.
I said, my
that's
son is
lovely.
32. Are you kidding me?
No, Harriet, you should have gone. Your one
No,
hormone,
no.
one hormone might have been 5 hormones by the end.
No,
Yes,
dear. No,
fired
dear.
up,
Absolutely
darling,
not.
fired up.
No,
no,
I don't
I'm
think
not
she should.
interested. No.
I think
No.
she's hallucinating myself. So I don't think it's true at
Thank you,
all.
Sherry. I knew
You know, Sherry, I just want to say, Sherry, darling, please get off the fence. Say what you feel. Don't hold back. It's so important for your mental health. Say what you feel, darling.
Yeah, come out with it.
And Sherry, I must say that I do like your hair. You've gone blondie again. Remember we had this conversation last week about going darker, going blonder, going darker, going
No,
blonder.
it's when I do. It's when I do the roots. The roots go very dark.
Yeah.
But the roots then will affect the rest of the blonde, and then when I wash it, it all goes this colour again.
Fabulous,
Is
dear.
that Keeley? Is that Keeley?
No, well, this time it was one of the spray ones that you buy. You know, from
Oh.
Boots, you spray it.
Yeah.
But the spray itself actually deadens your hair colour, so you have to get it out of your hair because it deadens the colour of your own.
I
hair.
use
Very
them as
pretty.
well. I use them as well. I quite like them. But anyway, Friday.
Anyway,
show.
and also as a brunette, please stop now. I'm bored with this blonde talk.
Yeah, but you still
Especially
have to
after
spray your
I
roots though,
encounter.
Harriet, don't you?
What roots? No, I have the Clairol gene. What are you talking about?
Very good, very good. I like that. Right, Friday show. Oh my goodness me, we have a treat, don't we, on Friday?
Yes,
We do.
We have, well, I mean, there's nothing else to say except the wonderful Celia Imrie.
Yay!
Fabulous.
So we will
Fabulous.
see you all on Friday. Have a nice few days.
Bye.
Dormail, home of a great night's sleep.